Hey everyone, in this video we're going to talk about how can one having an existing technical job can transition themselves into a product management role. I have already created a video where I've discussed like three different ways anyone who is a student or a non-technical person can actually get into a product management role. The link I'll put in the description. It should also appear somewhere here. If not, put down in the comments and I can send you the link. But in this video, I'm going to specifically focus on people who are doing like technical jobs, let's say as a developer or as a business analyst, and want to transition themselves into a product management role, but they're not really aware of what are some different pathways they can explore. So before trying to tell you what exactly you need to do in order to transition yourself into a product management role, let me tell you one thing which I don't really encourage my friends to do is certifications, right? Certifications are really good in some fields, but especially in product management, I feel it gets a little bit more theoretical. I have done a couple of certifications. I didn't really find it that helpful. The primary reason being it's quite theory but not that practical, and as a product management the skill set required is something, let's say, how do you think out of the box, how do you take one step back, take a look at the vision and try to do something which is more strategic. How do you handle your stakeholder management? How are your soft skills? Are you able to collaborate with, let's say, technical stakeholders, business stakeholders, and also your users? Are you able to prioritize? So I think these kind of questions or these kind of skill set is something that you can acquire when you actually start being a product manager. So again, certifications will give you more like a framework saying, hey, you can use like RISE framework to do your prioritization or some ABC framework, XYZ framework. But to be honest, in real world, it only helps 20%. 80% is all about how the culture is, how the firm operates, and how exactly your team operates and what are the team dynamics, right? Because most of the product management frameworks that you see in those courses are created with the mindset of everyone in the team working are ideal, and it's an ideal company you're working with all the best possible solutions and best possible conditions, but it's not practically the case. Practically it's quite different. Companies bring in product managers when there's a chaos and they need someone to make structure of that chaos, right? They don't really bring in someone when there's structure and they need someone to run that structure, right? We have project managers for that, but as part of product managers, you are responsible for creating structure out of chaos, and in chaos nothing is ideal. So I think, coming back to my point, certifications something I don't really encourage. So I wouldn't suggest you spending any more time, money on doing any kind of certifications, because there are other free ways of getting into, or more practical ways for you to get into product management. So let's get into that. So step one here is to actually get into the mindset of a product manager. So basically, if you're a developer or a business analyst, you need to get out of that mindset and get into the product management mindset before actually applying for a PM job, right? And how to get that mindset is, when you actually interact with product managers, try to see how they think, how they prioritize, and get some values from that, right? So one of the important items that I recommend everyone to do is, let's say if you're working in a product company and you have lots of meetings where the product manager is someone who's hosting those meetings, try actively participating in those meetings. One of the examples can be, let's say, a product backlog grooming session. What's a backlog grooming sessions? Is basically like a session where a PM picks up a story, he works with the rest of the team, he tries to put some more color onto the story, saying who is requesting, what is being requested, why are we requesting it, what's the t-shirt sizing, how much effort is required, everything. Not prioritizing it, but only adding more color to the story, right? So that everyone knows what might be coming on the plate. That's basically backlog grooming. Now, one of the principles I follow is 5 whys, meaning keep asking the question why 5 times and that's usually when you get to the root cause of the issue. What I mean by that is, let's say, for example, you're having a meeting of prioritizing product roadmap with the product manager, right? And he comes up with a statement saying, hey, this is one feature we're going to prioritize for Q1. So the follow-up question you'll ask for that is, why are we prioritizing it for Q1? Why not Q2? He might come back saying business has prioritized us for Q1. You can go back saying the second level of why. Why has business prioritized for Q1? The response might be, maybe because we are getting a lot of user requesting this feature and we need to get this out as quickly as possible. Again, ask why. Why is the user requesting this particular feature? Is it because there's some kind of trend going on in the external markets, or is it because the competitor is doing something, or why exactly is user requesting this in Q1, or why now, right? So you get the point. So again, keep drilling down to the statement unless you get a good enough understanding of why are we doing XYZ, or at least understanding the background behind the statement. So this is what I mean by understanding the mindset of a product manager. Like, for a product manager, he might have already thought of all these questions and then come with a statement, but it's important for you to understand why you're actually doing anything, like maybe why you're actually developing something, or why, what kind of analysis are you doing, and how is it impacting the product as a whole. So I think this kind of helps you get that product sense or product strategic mindset that one needs to have in a product manager. And when I say ask them questions, it's more from like a learning perspective and not from disrespecting perspective, right? So don't ask them question in the way of confronting them. You don't want to confront them. You are asking them more from a learning perspective, more from a motivation, intuition perspective. So keep that in mind. That's step one. Get into the product mindset. Step two is see if your company has anything to do with internal mobility. What do you mean by internal mobility? It's basically right now companies don't really want anyone to leave their firm. Reason being, they spend 3 or 4 months, they spend like 2 months interviewing you, they spend like 3 or 4 months training you, and after that, if you decide to leave, you're basically taking out the knowledge that you've learned in the company, going somewhere else and using that knowledge, right? So you are more like a taker and less of a giver to the company. That's why what they promote is internal mobility. They want you to move internally to different teams as compared to moving outside of the firm. So I would say first go to the internal mobility. Try to see if you have any kind of internal website where everyone posts all their internal mobility jobs, and try to see, okay, are there any product management roles? If there are, which teams are they in? What kind of requirements are there, and how, and do I fulfill most of the requirements or not? And when you're moving internally, that's the most easiest way to do a transition. Move internally from a BA to a product manager, right? And now you would say, okay, like if I find a job on the portal, how do I approach it? Like, what are some next steps after that? So one thing that helps you get that offer from an internal mobility job is networking. Networking as a product manager is really, really important. I cannot emphasize the amount of importance I would give to networking in my career, right? And there are some natural ways of doing networking. I wouldn't really say like just go up to someone, hey, I want to network with you, and just start talking and just like have a coffee with them. That's a great way, but I don't think that's an ideal way or a practical way, right? So there are two different ways in which you can network. The first way is find a mentor, right? When I say find a mentor, please don't look up the first product manager you see on the firm directory. Just reach out to them saying, hey, I want to have coffee, and then start, and can you be my mentor? No, that's not how it really works. So the best way to find a mentor is try to see how many teams have you worked with before, right? And have there been any people who have left the team and moved somewhere else, internally or externally? And if that's the case, that's where you approach those people, saying, let's say if you were working in a team and someone leaves the team and goes to a different company, stay in touch with that person and then make him or her your mentor. Because as a mentor, he or she knows how you work, your work style, your work culture, your work ethics, what your goals are, how you perform analysis, and everything about you, right? And it's again more natural coming off that way as compared to just approaching a stranger. So the person who left your team and went somewhere else is not a stranger. The person has worked with you, so you already have a good rapport with that person. So your mentor should be someone who is not in your team, who is a little bit senior from you, because that person has seen more work culture as compared to you, so the person can give you better advice. That's one way of networking, finding a mentor, and mentor can again help you network because that person will always have more contacts that he can get you in touch with. So that's one way. Second way is try to find any product management forums that you might have in your company where you go, you start networking, and again, that's not more natural, but at least you get to know how many product managers are there in your firm, what they talk about, what they discuss, right? And maybe they also have some seminars that you can attend. So that'll be again super helpful just to get to know the people, know the faces of the people, and again, you can still talk about the team they're working on, the product they're working on, and then maybe ask questions. And when you ask questions during the networking session, I think if I'm a PM, if someone comes to me and asks very intellectual questions, I think I will remember that person for a long time, right? And in future, if that person wants to maybe look out for opportunities, I'll definitely help them because I know that person has made an effort to come up, network, talk to me, and ask questions about what I'm doing. So I think that's definitely helpful. Another thing is your firm might also have like different kind of competitions. Basically, let's say an analyst fund competition, or let's say a hackathon, right? Try attending those. Even if you don't know, let's say, again, you're coming from a technical background, so you can provide inputs to a hackathon. In a hackathon, when you're participating, try to take a more strategic role. Like, again, do your development, do your business analysis, but also try to make a more strategic role in the hackathon where, let's say, you have like 4 people working on a hackathon. You are the person thinking about product vision, the roadmap, how it's going to be, what kind of features are going to be, what are the wireframes, but also do the development because you don't want to leave your technical side. So I think these are 3 different ways in which you can get like an internal mobility offer. And I would say internal mobility is the best way and the fastest way for someone to transition from a existing role to a product management role. So again, these are like few tips that I would have for people who are currently in a technical role wanting to go into product management. But if you're someone who is not technical but still wants to go into product management, please look at my different video where I've spoken about 3 different ways anyone can get a job in product management. So that's it for now. If you have any questions regarding product management career, post it down in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer it. So thank you, everyone.